Welcome to the Mindset of Matter YouTube channel. I am Christina Hathaway, the founder and CEO of the Mindset of Matter coaching program, and I thank you for joining us. This program was designed to help those people who seem to be doing the same thing over and over and over again in regards to their health and wellness, but not getting the results that they want. They're on this hamster wheel of insanity because they keep trying to change behaviors in the same way, but patterns, get in their way. The Mindset of Matter is here to help you recognize the thinking and feeling patterns that continue to keep you from achieving your goals. We will help you understand how your upbringing and your ability to be seen, heard, and authenticated has created ways of existing that keep you from being successful. If you grew up thinking or feeling or being told directly that you're only as good as how you perform, what you achieve, how you look, how others perceive you, or how you take care of others' feelings, then it's going to be very hard for you to truly take care of yourself with respect and acceptance. And so this channel is here to, again, educate you, provide you with examples of how we work with people on changing these behaviors, and give you tools to take away to try to do, make this change in your day-to-day life. And so please ask any questions you have. Please like and subscribe, and please let us know if there's any topic that you'd like us to cover. Talk to you soon.
And today we have a topic, that I cannot tell you how many people ask me about. Where do I start? Like, I am new to this. I don't know where to begin. And so I figured, let me put together a little live presentation on Exercise 101. And I think you're going to get a lot of good things out of this. And hopefully, I'm going to share a sample workout with you as well. And then obviously, if you have any questions about workouts in general, you can reach out to me directly. So without further ado, let's get started. We only have 30 minutes today. Presents. All right. So Exercise 101, where to start when you're getting started. So for those of you who do not know me, I am Coach Christina Hathaway. I am a licensed marriage and family therapist with specialized training in body and food-related diagnoses. I've also been in the fitness industry for basically my entire life. I was a group fitness instructor as well as a head clinician in an eating disorder program, and realized that there were women that I instructed in my classes who were struggling with a lot of similar issues that the ladies in the eating disorder program were dealing with. However, the women in the group, in the classes, didn't have a diagnosis of an eating disorder and nowhere to go to manage the thinking and feeling parts of their issues with food and their body. And so I created my program, The Mindset of Matter, which is an online coaching program where we create an intersection between mental health, exercise, and overall nutrition. I work with very high achieving women who have very busy schedules to figure out the most, we customize a plan that creates balance and sustainability for all areas of themselves, physical, mental, emotional, social, and beyond. And so our programs include one-to-one individualized coaching, self-paced coaching, and coming into a new group program, which I think a lot of people in some of the Facebook groups that I admin will be interested in. I am the admin in the women's workout and support group, but also have a smaller group where all of these live trainings live, strong for mindset and metabolism reset. And so if you are not a part of smaller group, that is where all of my, as I say, intellectual property lives, because I get to manage it there. So that's me, but let's get to what we're talking about today, Exercise 101. So we all know exercise is good for us. It offers documented health benefits and is probably one of the best tools we have to fight obesity, some types of cancer, diabetes, heart disease, and other chronic illnesses. At the same time, it can be hard to put that knowledge into practice. There are so many different suggestions on the type of activities and the ideal frequency. It can lead to information overload and overwhelm. The most important thing to know is some exercise, any type of exercise is better than no exercise. And we're going to go through a complete breakdown of, complete breakdown of all the components you need to set up a workout program that meets all of your needs. So just to go through it, the benefits of exercise include boosting your mood, giving you more energy, helping you sleep better, increasing bone density, improved confidence, improved quality of life, weight loss, reduction of stress, reduction of risk of heart disease and certain types of cancers, relief symptoms of depression and anxiety, and strengthens the hearts and lungs. So you see these numbers here. These are all research articles that support these benefits. So when you work out, I want you to think about this FIT acronym. So, how often you work out is important, how hard you work out is important, how long you work out and the type of exercise you do is important. Now, when I say this, people might think, oh, I need to push hard and make it super intense and be there forever and do all the things. I'm actually going to tell you very much counter to that. What you're going to notice today is that a well-rounded exercise program is going to include all aspects of this, but also mobility work, rest and recovery work, and non-exercise activity work. And so, however, we're going to walk through, well, what does a workout program look like for a busy mom? And what does a workout program look like for someone who has maybe like more advanced exercise goals? And so, but I want you to be thinking about this FIT acronym as this is kind of how we structure a workout program in general. But first, we're going to just remind you that, however, again, there's a fine line between enough and overtraining. This is why rest, recovery, and mobility are just as, if not more important when starting an exercise program. While you can walk daily as a form of cardio, it is suggested to include 2 to 3 rest days when strength training, and you don't work the same muscles 2 days in a row to give your body the time it needs to rest and recover. And we'll talk about what does rest and recovery look like in the next few slides. And so for a lot of you that I see in the group, you'll say, oh yeah, I started off and I was working out 5-6 days a week. I was doing cardio for 45 minutes and going into a strength program. And then all of a sudden it fizzled out. I'm going to tell you, no shit, it fizzled out. It's way too much. You were probably not feeding your body enough to work out in that way. So your body was like, F you, you're not giving me the energy to sustain this amount of load and stress on my system. And so what happens is you either get burnt out because you have no freaking energy, or you're putting in all this work and not seeing results. And so there's definitely, like I said, a fine line. The other thing too that I don't have in this presentation that I think is super important is the fact that exercise doesn't elicit fat loss. People say, I'm looking to lose weight. What exercises should I do? Exercise contributes to the energy output in general. So 10% of our total calories. So say for me right now, I'm eating about 2,000 calories a day as I'm reversing out of a deficit. So 10% of those calories I ingest will be burned in my exercise. Now, how is that possible if my watch says, like today, my watch said that in my workout, I burned like 375 calories. Our watches are very inaccurate, number one. Number two is average humans on this planet, we don't work out as hard and as long to keep our heart rates up to actually meet these calorie deficits that our watch show. Even me, like I'm incredibly advanced. I push my ass in the gym, but still I know that what it says on here and what's actually happening in my body is not the same. And so exercise is about, like I said, 10% of our total calories burned. However, to lose fat, to lose weight on the scale, we will be in a calorie deficit that comes from nutrition. Now, where exercise comes in is in a calorie deficit, you will sometimes lose muscle. People will see they'll lose weight, but their body fat percentage will go up because they lost a significant amount of muscle mass. By prioritizing protein as well as strength training, you can maintain that muscle throughout a deficit. Then you reverse diet, which I talked about in other videos here, and go to maintenance, where all the building happens. And building lean body mass is probably one of the best things that women can do for themselves, especially women going into their late 30s, 40s, and 50s. And we'll talk about some of those benefits here. I just want to say that because everyone's trying to like burn off calories in the gym. That's not how it works. So cool. And if you guys have any questions, just let me know. I have the chat up in the Facebook page, but also please go ahead and use the chat option as well. So first thing I want to talk about is the great debate, cardio versus strength training. So the first thing is I want you all to think about your goal in regards to exercise, because there's two things that are really important. So I always have people ask me like, what exercises should I do? And I'll ask them, well, what are your goals? Because your goals are really important in regards to where I'm going to point you. If your goal is to build endurance and run a marathon or an Ironman or something like that, then obviously we're going to be a more cardio endurance heavy program. However, if your goal is to have shapely arms, build your butt, have, get rid of, body fat, then our goal is going to be a build, and that's going to be a strength program. They can play in the same sandbox, but it takes a very specific type of training to do that. And we're going to talk about that today. So cardio exercise is a rhythmic activity performed continuously and can include activities like walking, running, aerobics, cycling, swimming, and dancing. Benefits of cardio include brain and joint health, skin, muscle, and weight control before adaptation, which I'll talk about, pancreas, lung, and blood circulation, sexual function, increased sexual function, increased mood, and increased sleep and energy. Now, yes, cardiovascular workouts can elicit, can be a part of that energy output, which elicits fat loss. However, as I've talked about in some of my other live trainings, is cardio builds endurance. Think long-term running. To build endurance, the body has to be selfish with the amount of energy it burns. We burn energy through metabolism, okay? So initially, a person will see weight loss from cardio, but because the body adapts to the stress, too much energy out, the body adapts by slowing the energy burned so that it can maintain energy levels for the entirety of the run, bike ride, etc. Also, it rids the body of energy burning muscle because muscle requires a lot of energy to keep in your body. So for someone who is not concerned about that lean body, I hate that word, but I'll use it here today, the lean, muscular body. And they're like, no, I want to have endurance. I want to be able to maintain this run. I want to be able to swim the distance. I want to be able to ride the distance. That is where cardio is important for you. You will have a cardio training, which we'll talk about how to create that here in a few. The results of adaptation includes less muscle mass, lowered metabolism, and less efficient metabolic system, because the body again is holding on to its energy. And so it says, I've got to run an hour. I need to hold on to that energy, which slows down the metabolism. Less of an ability to have active higher motor neurons or large muscle fibers. We have large muscle fibers versus short muscle fibers, which I won't get into today. And your heart rate can start plateauing at a certain point. I've had a lot of clients who do like OTS, and they're just like, yeah, I stopped hitting my flat points after a certain amount of time. And that's just the adaptation process. It's important if you're building endurance, and if that's your goal, let's do it, right? But if you have a goal to change your body composition and your physique, it can cause some issues there. I didn't put this in here, but let me Let me see if it's saved to my screen. Oh yeah, there we go. So I pulled this up because I thought it was important in regards to this great debate. So this is a marathon runner. You can see she's very lean, right? However, this is a sprinter. A sprinter is someone who uses power, and power comes from like muscle, right? It comes from lean body mass. So we can see the difference. Not that either is wrong, it's just a different look, right? So lean body, not as much emphasis on the muscle, right? Now, this woman obviously has muscle in her body. She want to be able to stand. However, you can see the definition here, the abdominals, the quads, the shoulders. So there's a big difference. Sprinting is considered a power workout like strength training, and obviously marathon running is an endurance workout. So just wanted to throw that in there. Okay, one question. Makes total sense, but crazy that the body would burn its, I know, right? So yeah, so obviously it has to have a certain amount of muscle to, maintain your muscle skeletal system. What am I doing? Present. But I said this in my metabolism one, like muscle costs a lot to maintain. And so the body will just say, look, I can't have all this dense muscle. And so I need to rid it so that I can, because if the muscle's eating up all the energy that I need to run further. It's a very interesting process. Metabolism is something we don't, it's just like the universe. They say the universe and the brain, there's so much to it that we don't know. And we're just learning these things as we go on. All right, so let's talk about the other side of the coin, strength training. With strength training, you lift weights, right? You put a load, you put a stress on the body. Dumbbells, barbells, resistance bands, machines, kettlebells. You put that load on the body to strengthen the muscles, bones, and connective tissues. Now, I want to make an emphasis on load because I see a lot of people like they put those like machines on their bellies where they're like, let's see, you guys can see me. I can't see myself, but like they like put it on their abs and they go like this. That's not a load. That's bullshit is what it is. You have to have a load on the muscle. Now, a load can definitely be your own body weight, right? But it needs to progressively overload over time, which we'll talk about. So things like this here, resistance bands, dumbbells, barbells, kettlebells, those are the types of things, and machines. Those are the type of things that are going to create that. So the benefits of strength training include help raise your metabolism since muscle burns more calories than fat does. It strengthens your bones. It strengthens your connective tissues, your tendons and ligaments. It makes you stronger, of course, and increase muscular endurance, making everyday activities easier. It helps to avoid injuries, increases confidence and self-esteem. Now, that should have an asterisk because that's all mental, but you get what I'm saying. And improve coordination and balance. And so another thing here in regards to metabolism is for women who are going into, their late 30s and beyond, when we have hormonal changes in the body, one of those changes is metabolic health because we're losing our androgen hormone or sex hormones, right? Estrogen and progesterone take a hike. When estrogen and progesterone take a hike, so does our metabolism. We can reduce the outcomes of this simply by having more lean body mass in our bodies, meaning strength training. Strength training, prioritizing protein, focusing on progressive overload. So just a little side note there, as a woman in perimenopause, menopause, having more lean body mass increases estradiol, which is one of the 3 estrogens that we hold in our bodies. It's the one that we have the most during menses. And having more lean body mass equals higher levels of estradiol. I'm not saying it right. So just a bonus there too. So when it comes to strength training though, just like with cardio is an endurance training, there are different types of resistance training. And so I want to talk about your objective. Because I always hear like there's somebody that was like, I want to have strong legs, but I don't want to look like X. And the picture she sent was someone probably on like steroids. We as women don't have enough testosterone to build these like manly bodies. Now, when people say that they're getting bulky and strength training, that simply means they're not lean enough. They have muscle, they just have to build the muscle and then go into a deficit to shed the fat. And that's a whole process in itself that we're not going to talk about today. However, I want to talk about the types of resistance training. Number one, if your objective is strength or power, think heavy lifting, you want to be in a 1 to 5 rep range, 3 to 5 sets. So let me actually take out strength because I talk about that here. Power lifting is someone who wants to hit a 1 rep max for something like a deadlift, a squat, a bench press. And so that is a competitive thing. There's a totally different type of training modality for a power lifter. Power lifters' body types usually aren't very lean. They're very strong. However, they just look thicker, right? Because their training modality has nothing to do with the way they look. It all has to do with hitting these PRs. It's very competitive. If your objective is building strength, that means getting stronger in the gym, building lean body mass, right? You're going to be in the next 2 phases. So 6 to 8 rep range, 3 to 4 sets is a strength training modality. Hypertrophy is muscle growth, right? It's 8 to 12 reps and 3 to 4 set rep range. Now, if your objective is endurance, you're going to have a 12 to 20 rep range and 3 to 4 sets. So as the rep range goes down, the weight of like the actual weights go up, right? So when I'm in a 3 to 5 rep range, I'm pulling the heaviest weights that I can pull other than my 1 rep max, which is the highest amount of weight I can pull for 1 rep. So I have trained in strength and in endurance and in hypertrophy. I've trained in all areas, but basically when the reps go down, the weight goes up and vice versa. A rep is one complete motion of an exercise. A set is a group of consecutive repetitions. A few other definitions here are supersets. Supersets are when we have 2 workouts that we go back to back, right? So I might do something like a deadlift into a bent over row. And that is my superset. I go one after the other, then I rest. Superset is one. A drop set is something where you would, and there's a few different there's drop sets and pyramids where you basically start at a higher weight, low reps, and then yes, the weights go up, the reps go down, and so on. And so there's a lot of different lingo out there. I was going to put everything in here, but ones that you guys probably need to know are these 2. Strength training. So there's also this question about like how many days. And for anyone who works with me, y'all know that I'm all about what can you do in your life, in your schedule, what makes the most sense for you? Because what makes sense for me, someone who literally does this for a living, has a gym in her home, has no children. Obviously, I strength train 5 days a week. Now, actually, I don't usually strength train 5 days a week. I'm going on vacation in 2 days. So I've been strength training 5 days a week because I've been planning for this trip. Now, this week, I have 3 days of workouts that are all dumbbell workouts, right? They're a little less intense because I know I'm going into my vacation. Plus, I can do those dumbbell workouts at the gym at the hotel. So I've set myself up for that. However, if you're for my moms who just had a baby and been cleared to work out, I do 10-minute workouts every day, or not every day, like 10-minute workouts, 5 different workouts where we're working 2 compound movements, which we'll talk about, for 10 minutes each day. And if they want to do multiple sets, they can, however, it just makes sense for them. And so, listening to muscle failure. Good question. I am not a coach that lifts to muscle failure. I usually have clients, I want someone to be able to walk the next day. So I have clients lift where I say, I want you to leave 1 or 2 reps in the tank. And I want to, because I want to make sure that person is not so gassed that once they're done with their workout, they go sit on the couch and they can't get up, right? A lot of people think soreness equates to a good workout, and I actually think it is detrimental, right? Obviously, you're going to be a little sore, but when we're training to failure and we're wobbling out of the gym, that can lead to lower NEAT, lower steps, lower movement in general, just because you don't have the energy to do it. So I like to stay in that 1 to 2 rep range. There are a lot of people out there that have an argument for failure. That's just my personal. So if you only have 2 days to work out, I suggest 2 full body workouts. Some people will be like, oh, I do legs one day and upper one day. Do 2 full body workouts. That way, you're working all major muscle groups 2 days a week. Same for 3, if you only have 3 days to work out, 3 full body workouts. Now, for 3 days, you could go upper, lower, or like push, pull, legs or something like that. But just to make it easy, 3 full body workouts is great. If you have 4 days, I usually do a 2 upper, 2 lower split, focusing on the compound movements that we'll talk about. And then 5 days, this is just the split that I recently did, was a lower quad dominant into a back and bicep, chest, tricep, and shoulder, and then lower body hamstring dominant, and then a full body. Now, different people have different splits. Some people go 6 days a week. I prefer to have 2 rest days in between. And for people who are runners or cardio queens, I always like to keep them in like 3 days of endurance strength training. So I have 2 ladies right now that are, 2 ladies who are training for a marathon. So our workouts consist of explosive strength training movements, things like pushing the sled, kettlebell swings, step ups, but we're also doing barbell work like squats, rows, push presses, and push-ups. And so for that type of programming, I have them, and I actually have an example of one. Their strength is shorter, right? And then we do some running afterwards. Whereas if someone's not training for endurance, then we're going to, spend more time on maybe that, spend more time on the strength side of things, I should say. So we talked about like kind of what it looks like, what are the different training programs, but how do we build muscle? So as I talked about, the body adapts to the current resistance training program. It adapts to any stress you put on it, right? And so we'll notice over time, like the same sets and reps no longer feel challenging to us or difficult to complete. So there are certain levers that we can pull to minimize that adaptation process. And this is called progressive overload. And progressive overload is very important whether you are endurance training or strength training. So progressive overload includes increasing resistance, so increasing the weight, increasing endurance or length, increasing your tempo, reps, sets, decreasing rest, or increasing range of motion or balance, or off balance, really. So a sample of increasing weight would be like week 1, perform bicep curls with 10 or 12 pound weights. Week 4, we increase to 12 to 15 pound weights. And week 8, we increase to 15 to 18 pound weights. Now, say we're working in a hypertrophy type of training, 8 to 12 reps. Where I want you to start is finding a weight where you can pull 8 reps with 1 to 2 reps in the tank. So that's going to take some time to figure out as you go to the gym. Like maybe your first set was super light. You're like, oh yeah, I could have done like 6 more. Go change that weight, right? Do 5 pounds heavier, see where you're at. And if you got to change it again, change it again. And it's totally fine. This is how you kind of learn where you're at. I would also suggest writing it down, or like for my clients, I have everything in an app where we can literally look at their progressive overload week over week over week. For someone who's endurance training, increasing the mileage in a run. So week run, running 20 minutes at a light to moderate pace, 2 days per week. Then week 3, maybe we run 30 minutes at a light to moderate pace, 2 days a week. And week 5, we run 30 to 40 minutes at a light to moderate pace, 3 days a week. So we're increasing that intensity. So that is progressive overload. It is one of the most important things in regards to both programs, so that we kind of, we want to make sure that we do not adapt to the program, because that's when we stop seeing results. Okay, how to create a well-rounded program. So I'm going to start with strength training. And really, we can take out this and put in runs, but always want to start with a warm up. Active mobility and working through all range of motions are important. Now, I can put this underneath the recording, a link to this YouTube page. This is actually my friend Heather. She is an athletic trainer. I absolutely love her warm ups. I do them all the time because they work in all planes of motion. As adults, we usually work in the, going forward and back plane of motion, but we have lateral and we have transverse where we're turning and rotating. And so we want to make sure that we're working in those planes of motion in our mobility. Mobility is something you can do every single day. It's so important. And a lot of people do not do it. If you want to do, you want to walk before, great. If you're doing something like a heavy strength training program, I would not suggest gassing your legs on something like a run beforehand. And then we'll talk about afterwards here. For a well-rounded strength program, you want to focus on compound movements. Compound movements move multiple joints and multiple muscles at the same time, giving you more bang for your buck. And so compound movements include squat or quad dominant movements, hip hinge or hip dominant movements. So a squat is a squat. That includes lunges, single leg squats, Bulgarian split squats, anything squatting. Hip hinge or hip dominant includes deadlifts, hip thrusts, things like that. Vertical push, that's something like an overhead press. Vertical pull is a chin up or a lat pull down. Horizontal push is a push up or a bench press. Horizontal pull is a face pull or a one arm row. If you were like, you know what, I'm going to do exactly what Christina said, and I'm going to do these 6 types of movements and focus on progressive overload, I guarantee you will see your body change. Other things, though, that you can put in your program are single leg or split stance type of movements. I talked about a few of them that mimic some of these other movements. Step up, single leg deadlift, split stance squat. Now, when we do single leg work, we're now taking the body off balance. We have to work even more core muscles. And for those of you who work out from home, single leg work or unilateral work is important because if you don't have a lot of weight, it helps to increase the load on that one leg. Whereas when we do bilateral movement, we're a little bit stronger. So if you only have like 10, 15 pound weights, I would focus on single leg movement. If you have, the access to a gym where you have all the weights, you can do both. Single joint movements are movements that we don't get as much bang for our buck. We're only focusing on one muscle group. Those are things like bicep curls, front raise, like extensions that are only working the triceps. But you can put those into your workout, of course, because we want to work those muscles. Now, keep in mind those muscles are being worked in the compound movement. So if I think about a chest press, right, I'm using my triceps, I'm using my biceps, right, to bring that up. I'm using my shoulders, my lats, my delts, all of the things in one movement. However, I put biceps and triceps into my own programming. Lastly is core. Core has several different types of core. We have core with rotation, we have core anti-rotation, core with extension, core with flexion, all of these different things. However, rather than telling you all of that, I gave you a few options here. Pull-off press is an amazing anti-rotation workout, especially for you mamas. It helps with pelvic floor health. Standing chops, again, helps in that transverse plane. So we're rotating. I think of like golfers for that. Dead bug is a great pelvic health and overall core workout. And farmer's carries. Think carrying the groceries, how much core stability you have to do that. Farmer's carries mimics that. And then a cool down, things like static stretching, whereas a warm up, we have active stretching, foam rolling, and walking. And so that's the gist of a well-rounded program. Now, if I'm running, I'm going to do everything except for my run is going to live here, right? And I'll focus on that progressive overload, or bike ride or swim or whatever, right? I'll focus on that progressive overload and increase my run or decrease my time per mile, and that's going to help. However, everything else stays the same. You want to warm up, you want to cool down. So here's a little sample workout for you. You can screenshot this if you'd like. My warm-up would include a 90-90 stretch for hip mobility, a cat-cow for lumbar mobility, a deep squat, again, for hip mobility, ankle mobility, a wall slide to wake up those shoulders, wake up those lats and delts, good mornings to wake up those hamstrings, runner lunge with rotation to basically wake up everything. Because as they say on Peloton, that's the greatest stretch in the world. That's what they call it. For the strength training bulk of my program, I'm going to use, I personally love dumbbells or barbells. Now, machines are great if you're literally brand new. However, geez, I'm getting so many. There we go. Machines are great, but they definitely, I mean, they're great because you can't get it. They're pretty much like injury proof, but you can, and you have a good coach, dumbbells or kettlebells or even resistance bands. Oh, can you guys hear me? Here, hold on. Yes. For diastasis recti, things like dead bugs, bird dogs, and the Palloff press is fantastic for that. Also, all like squats and deadlifts, they've been shown, just like a straight up strength training program has been shown to assist with that too. So I have in here dumbbells and barbell squats. I always say warm up with the lightweight just to put your body through that range of motion of squatting, then go into your working set. I'd go into a dumbbell single leg deadlift, dumbbell bench press, into a dumbbell push press, dumbbell hip thrust, barbell or dumbbell bent over row, lat pull down, hammer curl, and tricep extension. This is muscle groups, some single muscle groups. You're gonna get a good workout, and if you are focusing on keeping that 1 to 2 reps, it's gonna be hard, right? It'll be hard enough for when you go home, you're gonna be doing some similar like including a hip twist, behind the back forearm grip stretch, an up dog to stretch out those hip flexors and that core chest area, plank to scorpion reach, right? That's going to help with your lower back, lumbar spine, hamstrings. Child's pose, I feel like works everything. And then a sumo squat stretch. So you can see here, this is how I would do a strength program. Now, if I'm doing a sample strength with cardio program, as I talked about, you can see the actual strength work goes lower, and then I have clients run at the end. And so this is a more endurance type of workout, 12 to 20 reps, lighter weight, but we're maintaining our muscle while running as well. So it's a very moderate type of workout. We're looking for maintaining the muscle, creating endurance training in the muscle while we're training for something like a marathon. So that's where it all comes together. It is trying to find that happy medium when we are doing something like marathon training. And just a few other things. The best low impact workout you can do is walking. Walking has so many benefits. People think, I've got to run. I'm like, just walk. Like I weigh 145 pounds. So if I do 10,000 steps, that's 372 calories per day, right? That's how much I burned, as they say, on my watch. However, steps are a great indicator of how active you are. Our watches, yes, sometimes when we swing our arm, it thinks we're stepping, but they're a little bit more accurate in regards to step count than they are in regards to how many calories you burned per day. Walking's benefits include maintain a healthy weight and lose body fat, prevent and manage various conditions, including heart disease, stroke, high blood pressure, cancer, and type 2 diabetes, improve cardiovascular fitness, strengthening your bones and muscles without that high impact movement, improves muscle endurance, increases energy levels, improves mood, cognition, memory, and sleep, improves your balance and coordination, strengthens your immune system, and reduces stress and tension. Walking is one of the easiest ways to tap into your parasympathetic nervous system, what we call your rest and digest system. It's the system that calms you down and helps you poop. And so if you're having trouble with either, go take a walk. And don't forget, take your rest days. Take your rest days. Like, it boggles my mind when people are like, oh, I work out 7 days a week. I'm like, why? Like, you have to realize workout is the stress on the body. You never give the body a chance to calm the fuck down. The body's going to be like, dude, I'm not even going to help you here. Like, I'm not even going to help build this muscle because I don't have the time to build the muscle. So rest days promote muscle recovery. Exercise depletes the body's energy stores or muscle glycogen. It also causes muscle tissue to break down. Giving adequate muscle recovery allows the body to fix both of these issues, replenishing energy stores and repairing damaged tissues. It also helps overcome what we talked about, adaptation. The principle of adaptation states that when we undergo the stress of a physical exercise, our body adapts and becomes more efficient. We talked about this. It's just like learning any new skill. At first, it's difficult, but over time, it becomes second nature. Once you adapt to a given stress, you require additional stress to continue making progress. And so we want to, allow our bodies to rest so that we have the energy to then focus on what we talked about, progressive overload. Prevents overtraining. Too little rest and too few recovery days can lead to overtraining syndrome. This condition is thought to affect roughly 60% of elite athletes and 30% of non-elite endurance athletes. And once you have it, it can be very difficult to recover. Signs of overtraining. It's hard. It's hard in the gym. You have no energy throughout the day. You feel like complete shit. Your sleep is off, or libido is off. You plateau even, right? I've actually taken people out where I want to see only 4 days deload week where we do the weight. We still do the work. We drop the weight, but like 60%. And guess what? Her weight came down. So the overtraining is a real thing. I know when I'm overtrained because I just feel like complete and utter shit. I don't want to get off the couch. What to do though on rest days is active recovery. Stretch, yoga, walk. That doesn't mean you go to Barry's boot camp. That means you yoga, stretch, and walk. That doesn't mean yoga is core power yoga. Yoga, what is it called? There's like a strength yoga thing at Core Power. That's not what we're doing. So rest days, rest days, rest. So that's it. That is the gist of a well-rounded exercise program, as well as exercise 101. As I mentioned to those of you, I know a lot of you, like the few of you on the live chat are already in this group, but if you're coming from the larger women's workout and support group, I do have a smaller group where I said all of my creative information lives, just because I'm selfish and I want to make sure that I'm in charge of it. I'm not selfish. I shouldn't say that because I do these for free. But it is a smaller private Facebook group where I have guides, resources, and challenges. You can actually take a picture of this QR code here to join. I would love more members in my little group. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, or if you're like, you know what, I have a few more questions. I'd like to set up a time with you. I will drop a link in the replay where you can actually set up 30 minutes with me, just a clarity call, as we call it. That will help, just answer any questions that you might have. Obviously, you can ask them too in the recording on the Strong Her group. But I will jump. If you have any questions now, let me know. I'm available here for the next 2 minutes. I just got to go have a lunch, which is important too. All right. Cool. Thank you for attending. And as always, so there'll be no live trainings this Thursday or next Monday because I'm going on vacation. So I will see you guys back on the 17th. I think that's the day, 17th. I haven't decided what I'm going to do on that day. So we'll see. But let me know. Let me know what you want me to do. I just posted in the Strong Her group. What do you want to know? So thank you. Have a great rest of your day. And that's it. Bye bye.